Hi, my name is Jerry Wise, and I'm a therapist at Family Tree Counseling Associates in Carmel, Indiana. And in this video, I'd like to talk to you about counterdependency. We've had other educational materials, and I've had another video on codependency, and counterdependency is the flip side of codependency. Codependency is the syndrome or struggle in which we derive our sense of identity from others. Counterdependency would be characterized by the common phrase, or the opposite of the common phrase, no man is an island. A counterdependent is only an island in terms of their sense of self. This video is entitled Counterdependency, Big Boys Don't Cry, Don't Feel, Touch, Struggle, or Fail. And that kind of characterizes the life of a counterdependent. We typically call counterdependency the Superman syndrome. Men tend to be more counterdependent than women. That is instilled in us, in our society, in our culture. The heart of the counterdependence experience is that he or she has experienced a repeated failure of significant persons in his life being trustworthy. In other words, there have been people in his life, and I'll refer to the counterdependent as a he throughout the video. Counterdependents will experience significant caregiving others as not being trustworthy, or not being connected to them, or being very distant from them. Chronic and repeated violations of trust by a child sets into motion an inability to trust, without cause, the close and important persons in the counterdependent's life, such as the girlfriend or wife or parent. And again, counterdependents are always looking for, can I really trust you? Because I can't really trust other people. As a child, he may have experienced chronic hurts because the adults in his life failed to perform the functions responsibly, the parenting functions, the caregiving functions responsibly, as a result of addictions or withdrawal or workaholism or emotional neglect or abuse. If you are a counterdependent, you tend to believe that you don't need anything from anyone. You tend to trust no one but yourself. You find it hard to feel close to anyone, even your wife or children. You may use violence or threats of violence to force getting your way. You maintain a relationship only with persons who don't demand a lot of closeness from you. Counterdependents resist making any commitments in relationships. They resist asking for or showing that they need help. They will be out of touch with the depths of their feelings. And counterdependents counterdependents tend to resist showing feelings, and they tend to deny their feelings to others. They also typically don't like to touch or hug, so outward shows of affection are uncomfortable for them. Counterdependent people tend to be more aware of others' flaws and insufficiencies than they are of their own unmet needs or flaws. If they're in a relationship with someone who has codependent behaviors, they see this person as sick or needy, and they're the one who is the weaker one in the relationship, whereas the counterdependent is the strong one in the relationship. Counterdependents act very strong and vulnerable, and they want to put on a good front. They have this kind of veneer that says, I am strong, my life is working really great, I have this great job, I'm driving the right car, I'm living in the right community, I have a trophy partner. It is really kind of like the American persona. Everything is going great. At least that's the image that the counter-dependent wants to portray. Counter-dependent people can reach the point where their self-identity arises from their acts of opposition and defiance, and their behaviors can be disruptive, making it difficult for them to hold down jobs, making it difficult for them to maintain personal or intimate relationships. In other words, they might be the contrarian, the one who is always the opposite of what everyone is saying or doing, the one who has to disagree about so many things. Fear of intimacy is at the heart of counterdependency, and it leads to emotional isolation. Counterdependents then develop a very strong need for closeness. But the difficulty is, while they want this closeness, they can't tolerate the closeness. So they maintain a position of come close, stay away, or what we call approach avoidance conflicts in intimate relationships. Again, the come close, stay away message gets sent in relationships. The recovery process takes time and effort and usually needs assistance. We need help if we're counterdependent. Remember, most of these issues begin in childhood and are deeply ingrained in our psyche. Change won't happen by accident. If you're codependent, you're not crazy. You can recover if you're willing to do the work. Those with counterdependency issues will need to learn how to do these things. Become more dependent, be able to focus on others, gain empathy for others, remove walls, identify and express feelings, be able to identify personal weaknesses, learn to be intimate with others, learn to be cooperative, learn to take back and identify projections, learn to make commitments, master the world of relationships, develop compassion for others, and separate sexuality from nurturing. It's very common for sexual addicts to also have an underlying problem with counterdependency because they see sex as a relationship. Sex equals relationship. The steps to recovery include these: remembering what happened to you as a child, identifying the characteristics of counterdependent behaviors, feeling your feelings, learning reparenting skills, reparenting yourself, becoming an autonomous person, developing a spiritual life, and learning to live interdependently. In other words, cooperatively with others. So what's the bottom line? People with unmet counterdependency needs often have their boundaries violated when they were children, and they built walls to protect themselves from further harm. In order to protect themselves, people with unmet counterdependent needs often cross the boundaries of others. Healthy boundaries are an important part of sustainable intimate relationships. It's never too late to learn how to create physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual boundaries. Counterdependency causes lots of problems for individuals and for families, often at the workplace too. Counterdependents have trouble making that call to get therapy because they fear having that veneer, having that image which they have struggled so hard to maintain, having that image or wall come down. Also, counterdependents, again, fear to be vulnerable. Just remember, Family Tree has been working with counterdependents for many, many years. We understand the struggles. We know ways to get help and to recover. And If you are counter-dependent, I hope you will get help